President Biden is visiting the site of the collapse in Surfside this morning, and he will speak to the families of victims and thank the first responders. More on the situation that is happening in the tropics and how it can affect South Florida in just a moment. But we begin this morning with the latest on the condo collapse. The network's Helen Acevedo is in Surfside this morning as President Biden is making his way to the tragic collapse that happened 1 week ago today.
President Biden and the First Lady expected here in Surfside later today. We just received video of him boarding Air Force One for his trip to South Florida. Meanwhile, here at the collapse site, more tragic discoveries were made yesterday. When President Joe Biden arrives in Surfside later today, he's scheduled to meet with victims' families and show his support for the first responders and crews working around the clock in hopes of finding survivors. Those crews using their hands, buckets, and small tools continue the painstaking work of digging through 12 floors worth of rubble that was once part of the Champlain Towers South condominium.
I'm very pained to tell you that we found 2 additional bodies in the rubble, which brings our total count to 18 fatalities.
145 are still unaccounted for. As that search effort continues, the commander of the Israeli rescue team says the degree of damage has left very few opportunities for air pockets large enough for humans to survive in.
We found people. Okay. Unfortunately, they are not alive. We found some more tunnels, and we strolled at night in those tunnels. And there are, from one hand, new spaces that we find, and from the other, we found more people, but unfortunately not alive.
Meanwhile, President Biden has offered federal aid and says he supports a federal probe into the collapse. Words echoed by Miami-Dade Mayor Daniela Levine Cava, calling this a tragedy no one will ever forget moving forward.
It was just horrific. Nothing worse than burying children. And we know for the first responders on the pile, it's horrific for them as well. We know when you talk about their suffering and, of course, the physical suffering, but the emotional as well. And for the community watching and the family members, there is no consoling this pain.
As crews here at the collapse site await the president's arrival, he is making a priority out of not negatively affecting their work. White House officials say they are making sure that the added security does not slow down the search and rescue mission. In Surfside, Helen Acevedo, South Florida Media Network.
Formed overnight, Tropical Storm Elsa is putting South Florida in the cone of concern this morning. The National Hurricane Center warns Floridians to brace for tropical weather in the upcoming days. With current search and rescue efforts down in Surfside, officials are teaming up with the National Hurricane Center to prepare for a possible strike.
We coordinated with the Hurricane Center to determine how this system will impact our state and how we can begin preparing for its impacts.
Elsa could move over parts of Florida by early next week, but it's still too early to predict a path that far out.